Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. So, let's start with Xander and Sarah. Here's the thing, they didn't really actually do anything in this episode. And it kind of sucks because I like Xander. I mean, I'm not forgetting back when I first started watching it, the idiotic things that has came out of his mouth. But with that being said, I actually like Xander. And I felt like him and Sarah was pretty much wasted. All that pretty much happened was that they knew it was Ava. And Xander was like, you gotta back out because, she's dangerous. And Sarah said no. And then Sarah told Xander that, Philip tried to kiss Sarah, and, Xander went off. I kind of almost threw up in my mouth a little bit. Here's the thing, I get it. They're not blood, but still, you're like stepsisters at least. Like, that's just weird. That's just weird. There's no other women in Salem that he could sit there and set his sights on besides whatever. So he's about to flip out, but, Sarah, being Sarah, has to sit there and think for Xander and tells him all the different reasons of why that's a bad idea. And so he listens, and then, he decides to, include her back on the trail of taking down Philip. That's it. Other than that, they were pretty much time fillers, which sucks. So Charlie and Claire made it official, because why not? They officially decided to, be boyfriend and girlfriend, because whatever. I don't know, maybe it was just the way that they went about it. I was just like, this seems so high school, but whatever. And you know what, I'm not gonna lie. Watching Charlie with Claire, and reading the comments at the bottom, knowing that, there's a good chance that he may go all psycho and, decide to be a POS, towards Claire. I'm just not there, now I'm sitting there thinking, I'm just like, every time I sit there and watch, I'm just like, so is this going to be in a moment where he just flips out and just loses his, I don't know. But it seemed like they had a good time and whatever. I mean, she didn't really learn that much about Charlie, which is actually pretty interesting because this guy has been over your house for the wedding and everything like that, and y'all went out a couple of times and you never bothered to, ask him anything about himself. I mean, I felt like they'd been out on a bunch of dates, and this is the first time she was like, oh, and I don't really know much about you. Okay. But whatever. They had their date night, and then, well, Charlie decides to go over to, Ava's, because, when he went over there, he was like, you've been texting me, and, well, I'm here. And I'm not gonna lie, he had a very different demeanor. This wasn't the, oh, I'm just Charlie, nice guy, whatever. I'm just Charlie, very awkward or whatever. This was very just, like he was plotting something, And when Philip was sitting there talking to Ava about Charlie and stuff, he was all like, oh, well, he's kind of slow, whatever, but he's, I got him under control, I got this, don't worry about him. He's kind of dumb, And seeing him stand there with Ava, I'm like, I don't know if he's as dumb as you're sitting there saying. And I'm not gonna lie, that was probably the best part, because this whole time, he's working for Philip, he's working for Xander, he's going back and forth, and he's ratting both of them out to each other, and you being triple agent and double agent and everything else, and the whole time they sit there and think that they got Charlie, like under control, like, yo, I'm the boss, I got you, whatever. Like, Charlie is just playing both of them. So I find that actually pretty interesting. So yeah, that was probably my favorite part. Before that, it was just pretty much, Philip and Ava, talking about, well, at first Philip was a little kind of worried because he was like, you kind of came public and I kind of want us to be on the down low for me to kind of help you with this scheme, but, Ava was like, my son needed me and it doesn't change anything, and I still want my business done, because if I don't get my business done, then my brothers are going to have business with you, pretty much. She's just like, I still need you to launder my money. I'm like, well, how long does this whole money laundering thing take? It's like, I mean, listen, I don't know much about money laundering, but this guy seems like he's been doing it for a while. Like, how much more does your money need to be clean? What are we doing? Yeah. So, and she also makes those veiled threats to, if you don't hand her Xander, I will, and X, Y, Z, and blah, 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 blah. What else we got? I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting so sick and tired of calling her poor Allie. And as I'm sitting there watching this, I'm like, okay, whatever, and I'm just looking at my phone and I'm hearing her out. Here's the thing that I feel like I need to kind of just keep making this clear, because I know a lot of times when I talk about Allie, I can come across as a dick because, well, let's be honest, Allie is just annoying. With that being said, I wouldn't wish that on anyone. Okay, I would not wish that on my worst enemy. So as much as I do not, well, let's be honest, I can't sit there and say I can't stand her, but as much as I don't like Allie, what happened to her is unspeakable. I really feel like I should sit there and say that, because yeah, she's sitting there talking about, Tripp and suing him for his worth and everything like that, and suing him for child support. I'm like, suing him for child support? Are we just gonna ignore the fact that she is practically rich? I just, when Bella was like, oh, we can sue him from child support. Oh, okay. So, you're pretty much just giving her opinions at this point, right? Because, again, mansion, like, sure, whatever. So she's sitting there talking about this lawsuit, and, this is when Bella's like, listen, they're going to sit there and drag your name through the mud. They're going to ask you these same questions over and over and over again until you break. And Allie's all like, listen, I'm going to do it. Now, and I it's not that I hate saying this, but from Allie's perspective, she is thinking that Tripp did it. This is her way of getting justice. She's not going to back down. And I get that to an extent. But again, alcohol, you didn't really remember him until just now. I mean, this is one of those things where it's like, I'm getting justice for you doing this to me. And I'm like, again, you didn't even really remember until, recently. And you also was not there talking about, you also was drinking. But for some odd reason, no one was sit there and really put that into a factor, but whatever. So Bella agrees to take the case, and, Allie was on her merry band of justice, I guess. Yay, more Allie. That's just joyous. What else we got? Oh. So, Joey's home, Kayla's over the moon, Steve is happy, and it's all a great time until Trip comes by. Trip comes by, and, Kayla's all, having her death stare or whatever. So, they talk for a little bit, and Trip is like, I'm just coming to just get my stuff and leave, and Joey's like, no, we gotta stay, we gotta catch up. And, this is when I think Trip was meant to saying, Trip said, well, she thinks that, I'm a rapist or whatever, and he tells the story, and, Kayla's all like, oh, well, your father's gonna sit there and back you up. I was like, okay, sweetheart, whatever. Long story short, Joey's like, I want him to stay, this is my homecoming, I believe him, but I also understand where you're coming from. But for right now, I just want to be with my family and my brother. And, Kayla's like, fine, whatever. And then she goes back in the kitchen, and she's just cutting those onions, and I'm just sitting there just thinking, I'm just like, it'd be a real shame if you just nicked your fingers or kind of just sliced off a finger by accident. I mean, it'd be such a shame if that happened. It would be a real travesty. I'm literally sitting there thinking about this as I'm watching this in my head, because she's just like, at first I was like, Jesus Christ, lady, you might want to just kind of slow down, just, take a little easy on the onions. So while she's, going all hard on cooking or whatever, Steve is like, I want to thank you for doing this or whatever, and, Kayla's like, oh, I'm doing this for Joey. I was like, okay, whatever. Steve is over the moon, he has his 2 sons there, and he couldn't be any happier. And that made me smile. Because honestly, to tell you the truth, that was one of the very few things that actually made me smile, was seeing Steve happy. Because seeing Kayla, and again, I understand, I get it from Kayla's perspective, but after a while, it just starts to get kind of old after a while. Like, it really does. What else we got? Yeah, that's actually going to do it. Again, like I said, I think it's really interesting that Charlie seems like he just have these very split personalities. And I don't mean like he doesn't remember what he's doing. It's just 1 minute he's being shy, awkward, quiet, kind, sweet, and innocent. And then the next minute with Trip, he's like, I don't know, hit puberty or something. And now, he's over there with Ava like, you called and I answered. And he has this look in his face like he's plotting something. And then you gotta sit there and take into the factor that the whole time, while Xander and Philip are sitting there telling this guy what to do, you do this, and you do that, and you do this, and you do that. And Charlie is just like way ahead of them, just like steps ahead of both of them. So I actually found that part pretty interesting, as I said before. But yeah, Charlie, I feel like Charlie's going to be an interesting character until he becomes a character that I just really don't like, depending on which way the story is going. And that's actually going to do it. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are about this whole everything. And did you actually think that, did you think that Sarah and Xander were just damn near a waste in this entire episode? I want to actually see them doing something, It's one thing to have their, talking and stuff like that and plotting and whatever, but we've been doing this for a while, like, give them something to do. But that's just my thoughts. Thank you for watching. Be safe. I will catch you in the next video.